welcome back to Contact, a space engineer's adventure where I have made an error in judgment. So yeah, as many of you are probably aware, last episode I built this thing after deciding to change up some rules for what I felt and still feel was a valid reason. I wanted this series to be more focused on combat, and I thought that's what you, the viewer, wanted as well. But you made yourselves very clear that actually you're in this for more the overall experience of it, and are okay with things that, might not be as high octane. And I get it to a degree, and I think I have some ideas that are going to fit that desire for people. But first off, let's go ahead. I've got this thing more or less finished, fueled up and ready. Let's go ahead and take it for a little spin. A little shakedown cruise, if you will. Oh, those back things may not actually be piped. It'll be fine. Yeah, those four thrusters move it pretty well, actually. Turns very slowly. Alright. I'll just go ahead. How far? Okay, so it doesn't jump very far, but that makes sense because it is very heavy. So let's go ahead and go and see what happens here. What? No. Okay, I don't think that was supposed to happen. We are falling rather quickly. Okay, hydrogen has stopped working. But this is not good. Right. I suppose this is all fair, because this was sort of cheated in, as we determined. Well, of course it's crashing right in a shadow. And we get to see the cool explosions. Well, I guess if it's an explosion, we'll see it anyway. Oh boy. Hello, ground. Yeah. Oh. I didn't expect that part to happen. Just one moment. A lingering concussion took me out. Well, anyway. So, first thing you people will be proud of, that. No more creative mode tool. I've decided I will go back to normal vanilla. Clearly, what you guys wanted is less a, explore just the Factorum. You want a full survival series. So, that means my priorities have changed. Instead of pushing for, exploring the Factorum and seeing all that they have, that's obviously the end goal, still, but I'm now pushing that end goal way back, because I think there are some changes around here that are going to make that more feasible. I'm going to start, how do I start? I think I'm going to start by removing this little pistony thing and changing what this gantry is for. And actually, I'm gonna start by getting better tools. So I'm gonna start out with some piping here. My idea for this area, I have a plan for down there, which means I need to move all the ships that are there somewhere else. So my thought is, make this a big old sort of small ship parking area. It's already got the nice lights, I have plenty of room. It's been too small to build most ships, so I might as well just, repurpose it into something better, and I think sort of an open-air hangar area could be cool. So the gist of what I've got here, we have 5 sort of vertical placed connectors using these boxes because they have the side thing, which really makes the piping easier. You don't have to sort of duct tubes under your connector and have a gap. I can just have my sort of catwalk walkway running right along top of these pipes. So then below that I have a second row which has normal connectors pointing out, and that should allow me to connect pretty much anything. So like the CLC, compact landing craft, which I've just named the compact on the antenna, that's funny. It will be able to park. Also, the antenna shouldn't. No, that's the antenna for the base. Anyway, it, with its docking orientation, can dock vertically, which means it doesn't have to sit sideways on things. The miner, on the other hand, can dock to one of these pointing out. Or things like the sports welder / sports grinder. I have gone a little overboard in terms of, spaces for parking versus ships I actually have. But if I want more small ships for other various uses, which I may come up with some ideas where it would be good to have some small ships, I can have several of them parked out here. Just gives me more room. So now we begin the long and arduous process of welding. And I suppose as I do some of this, I do want to touch on sort of my reasoning for my previous decision and then the reasoning for rescinding that decision. The point is, and the sort of gist of it, I had a very specific and narrow goal in mind for what I was doing. And I think my decision, based on that specific and narrow goal, was the correct one. I wanted to focus on combat. I didn't care about the other stuff. So, I might as well just not worry about the other stuff and strictly do combat play. And I don't think it would have been as, disastrously unenjoyable as people were seemingly thinking it would be. There was still going to be risk of losing the ship, and some of that would have just been me, role-playing, oh, I've lost the ship, which I think is, for entertainment is just fine. I could still create a story for you guys you would have enjoyed. But I'm also happy to listen to you. There was clearly a lot of, passion. Some people may be more passionate than others in their disdain for my choice. So yeah, the people spoke, the people voted, and for some reason this is a democracy, so I listened. What am I full of? I guess it's all the other junk. Yeah, so for now, we're going back to how things were. I'm going to focus a little, for a bit at least, on getting, production improved, getting some of that stuff changed. And I think it's a different story than I was planning on telling, but it's still a perfectly valid story, and hopefully it'll be one that you enjoy. And unfortunately, we've hit the point where resources are an issue again. How much do I actually have? So iron is what we're out of. So we have plenty of nickel, cobalt. Gold and silver are a little low, but I shouldn't need that for this. Same with platinum. Silicon we've got plenty of. Okay, so it's probably just iron for the moment, which is convenient because that's here. Probably do need some ice as well. But some of this stuff, I've got a plan for, check this rock. I've got some big plans for sort of a change to the whole production process, and some pretty heavy changes to the base coming with that. So I'm a little hesitant to go off and there. Of course I go out right as the darkness comes. I'm a little hesitant to go do a crap ton of mining before those changes, because those changes will make it easier. Now, I did want to discuss too, I feel like there may be some misunderstanding just from some of the comments I saw about how creative mode works in Space Engineers, at least in the scenario I was going to be using it in. So there are sort of two separate mechanisms to creative mode. There are the world settings, which affect things like batteries and hydrogen tanks and stuff like that. And then there are player settings. What I was changing only... What am I hitting? Oh, the rock, of course. The changes I made only affected the player settings. They did nothing to affect the actual in-game world. So everything in the save was still fully, survival vanilla and subject to those requirements and needs for fuel and power and things like that. All that my change did was allow me to place blocks without components and without welding them, which obviously is still a big change and, takes away some... It does take away part of the game loop of Space Engineers, which is the gathering resources bit. But it wasn't like... It wasn't like I was going to be invincible and the Factorum was just going to bow before me because I could not be stopped. I mean, I guess it sort of would be, but not in... Only because I could just keep coming back and flood them with corpses. It wasn't going to be a, any sort of advantage from that front. To the point, I was going to turn off the creative mode player controls in combat, meaning that I wouldn't have any benefit. It would be fully vanilla. So, yeah. That's again my saying I don't think it would have been as sort of disruptive of a change as people thought it would be. But, at the end of the day, now I'm doing this. And it opens me up to do some different things that I wasn't going to bother doing in this series because I didn't think that that's something people wanted from this one. Alright. There we go. That is production back up. Alrighty. That took a while. And still needs the catwalks. Do I do those now? I may wait and do those later because I don't want to do them now. I will go ahead and move the ships. Not flown this thing in a while. That's actually the perfect length for that, which is good because at the moment this is the only ship that docks up here. I may have to move it when I actually put catwalk in because I kind of want it going up to the connector. That'll work for now. Should be me. Forgot how twitchy this thing gets. There should be enough room for this down here. The catwalk for down here is probably It's probably going to be a little weird, but I should be able to tweak it a bit. And just so that I have everything where it belongs. Park that there. I can actually get rid of this. Hopefully there's nothing in it. Good. Even though it's pointless, I think I'm just gonna leave those conveyors in there because I'm pretty sure if I grind out that conveyor, that vents the space, and I don't feel like dealing with that at the moment. Alrighty. So now that up there is done, it's time for me to do my thing down here. This is gonna get a little weird. Let's get this stuff for a small cargo, mainly so I have cargo access down here. Where are you, cargo? There you are. Alright, and those have side connections, so I can do that to hold that stalk in place. The stalk, yeah, and this will be held in place by the scaffolding. All good. That stalk will be going away soon, but I don't have the room for it. Now I do. Goodbye, stalk. Alright, so I've ground down all of that because I want down here a bunch of refineries. So one of my biggest issues is material throughput. So if I have a bunch of material throughput, I need to actually do this a little differently. I shouldn't have ground down all the things coming off the cargo. So yeah, my biggest issue is getting stuff refined because the refineries only go so quick and some materials are very slow. So if I redo this lower section with a crap ton of refineries, and I may change how I do it a little bit. But having a bunch of refineries will mean I have a bunch of material production, which means I can gather more resources and then make use of them. Sort of a little refinery star. I can then have probably yield modules along the backside, because I'm speeding things up with raw units of stuff put through versus having it actually go faster. I may go ahead. We're going big here. So let's do a ton of these. Well, 8. I'm actually planning on removing the one that's inside the base. So that that refinery is going to be one of these 8. And then I may actually... Yeah, the base only has one large cargo container. I may stick a second... I don't know. I want to stick something down here. I could either stick a large cargo container, or I could maybe do a reactor, or maybe a tank. Maybe I do a tank, because hydrogen storage is something that is pretty lacking on this thing. That does mean... Okay, we won't do that after I've built these, so I don't have to worry about accessing that. Ooh, and actually... Okay. So that's 8 refineries in the build queue. If I shift middle click to set it to production, it's gonna take a long while, but where's a welder? There you are. I can just stick a welder down here, and it should weld up both of whatever one it's pointing at, and I can just rotate it around once those are done. And it'll probably build some of those quickly, because I shouldn't actually need all the stuff produced. I just like setting, you know, if I choose all of them and send it all to production, then I know I will produce enough stuff, and it means I'm not, you know, cutting down my stockpile. So I probably had enough steel plate already, but now I'll still have steel plate for just, you know, placing stuff out, and I won't have to build more. So while those are doing, it looks like we've caught up to production. While those are doing, I'm going to set these out. And can I... Yes, I can build off the back of those. I cannot build on the front of those, which will be awkward, but I should be able to work around that. I want to just do a little bit of touch-up down here to make this sort of fit in with the rest of the base. Yeah, so nice simple curve going around, kind of mirror that. Should look alright, and then I may do another sort of longer antenna tower out the bottom. Alright, so that's refineries built. I'm getting the yield module stuff produced. Let's see. So the last thing that I think I'll do today is I'm going to work on an improved mining machine. So improved mining ship. And I've thought a lot about this. I think what makes the most sense is to take the baby beluga and modify it. Turn it into a mining ship. Probably pretty drastically changing it as a vehicle. So the original miner, the Dig Dug over here, it works just fine. It's a nice, small, and efficient design, really. But it's small. And it takes a lot of trips to, you know, gather a bunch of resources. It's not horrible, but I think part of what I can do to improve mining first off is by making each mining trip mean more. Ideally, if I can take a super mining beluga, whatever, if I can go and if I can take an entire deposit in one trip, that feels pretty good. Maybe 2 deposits, you know? Basically, I'm going to turn the baby beluga into like an asteroid-eating super ship. Now, I did also think, and there was some discussion of drones and using, I think PAM is the name of the script. It's basically a drone control ship, or script even, that controls your ship. I thought about doing that, and I could pretty easily convert the Dig Dug into a large grid drone, actually.
Energy low.
But it's a bunch of effort. It would be interesting. I feel like I don't have a lot of trust for any of those to actually reliably work. I'll hold it in the back burner, and I think it's a good idea to leave the Dig Dug intact, even if, you know, I have another ship. Because if something happens to that one, or say while I'm building it, I need more resources, I don't want to grind that down first. So it'll just live back here, and maybe get turned into a drone at some point if I decide I'd actually prefer little mining trips happening regularly and automatically. It's going to be a little tricky what I'm going to have to do to this. We're not going to like it. I do have a blueprint, so it is saved. In fact, let me just...
Yep. There it is. Now I have a second one. So yeah. First. Okay, good. That's not drawing. Get the ammo out. Take the guns off, and then I'll probably cut the whole front end off. Well, so as is often the case when I'm reworking a ship, I've decided I want to shorten it a bit. So, well, there's a camera up here. That could actually move. Well, we'll leave it there for the moment. Anyway, cutting the ship in half so I can smush it back together. It'll probably actually get longer again, but this is more me wanting to change the cockpit design. So, pair of merge blocks. Conveniently, I have cargo access. I did have to reorganize that a bit, but yeah, it's fine. Let's go... You know what? This may be getting replaced, and it feels kind of awkward to have it build its own replacement, but it's sort of like helping out a big brother. Or sister, I don't know the gender of this drill monstrosity. I'm just gonna try and cheekily just push it. Hope it works. Hope it works. Hope it doesn't blow me up. It's very jiggly. Stop the jiggle. Yeah, man. Just... Haha! Well. Okay, that was poor timing, but it did merge at least. That part worked. So back here is going to be where a lot of change has to happen. Because I'm thinking of this not being a hydrogen ship. I think I'm going to try and convert it to ion. And that means, you know, a lot of, well, basically all of this gets ground out. Now how much... Yeah, that has fuel in it. And I don't really want it to. So, those are full. Those can go on stockpile. Now they're full. Do I have... I may not have any more room for hydrogen. I don't think I do. That's a bit awkward. I may... Do I want more cargo space? Or do I want more fuel space? In theory, my hydrogen needs are going down because the mining ship and battleship are both going to be ion, at least primarily. I may add some boosters to the Stingray. But... it's probably good. I have 2 full tanks in there. My needs are going down. I think I can accept losing a bit of fuel. So, my plan here, I want to do this in a way that doesn't dramatically change the styling of the ship. So I think what I'm going to try and do, and I should have gotten the color before I deleted it. So instead of the hydrogen tank, this will be the cargo, which is a bunch more cargo than I had before. I think, yeah. There we go. So we have our nice shiny orange. It could maybe be a little more orange. that thing. Nice shiny orange cargo. And then, instead of the engines and thrusters, we will just have ion thrusters. Now that those are placed, so these batteries were being held on by the hydrogen, I can now get rid of these thrusters, and those should stay on because of that ion thruster, hopefully.
Energy low.
We'll also have to cut some holes in. These guys can go.
Inventory.
We'll have to decide if we lose the upper antenna thing. Because I like it, and it's definitely a part of the ship. But, well, it means I can't fly through a hole I create, like all the way through. If it really comes to that, I can extend out the drills. Just add more of them to make a bigger hole. But I don't think that'll be necessary. I should be able to basically, you know, I'll come up on a ore deposit on an asteroid. I should just be able to push into it straight in. Hopefully eat up most of it in a little like push straight through. And once I hit rock, I just pull out. It's probably, at most, I'd be going into like that deep into the rock. Which should be alright. Oops. This is going to have to move anyway, but I didn't anticipate it to already be free. So the trick in here is going to be getting room for thrusters. Ooh. That's an inconvenient spot. Okay, I guess this goes. I may move it. Move it back to the back. So anyway, I can have thrusters going out there. Let's go ahead and get them in. So a thruster there. Can have a thruster there. Then one coming out here. The issue is my cargo, I need to run this to the front of the ship. That currently runs through this cargo container here. The jump drive is there. Okay, I have a silly idea. So obviously these cargo containers aren't critical. They were here as the original cargo. But I now have more cargo. So if I just... my thrust would be unsymmetrical-ish.
Inventory full.
No. But I think I'll just have 2 lifting thrusters for no real reason. Because then, if I put another container in here, everything is now piped up. Thruster, then thruster, thruster. I still have my vent controllers that do various things. I will need a gyroscope back, but I can put it in here, but it's not kind of tight in here. I don't need that anymore. Yeah, in fact, if I change up how these work, I have a gyroscope there. Then I can use these things around all the corners. They're flat there. Sort of enclose the roof. I'm tempted to get rid of the grav gen, because it's a bit valuable and not You know, not strictly necessary for a mining vessel. Yeah, let's do it.
Inventory full.
In fact, in fact, I'll move this out from here,
Inventory full.
place it up here.
Inventory full.
And then in there, I'll have another vent controller because I'm going to need one. That's not where that is anymore. I just realized
Energy low.
with this now being a mining ship, it's going to need some method for telling me when it's full, and that requires a timer block. Did just realize a mistake I made. I need reverse thrust. Now I have these drills set up. I kind of need, so those are T connectors. So, like, basically these 4 drills are piped up. All the other drill segments need to connect to this one somehow. I'd like to recess my thrusters into that gap, but then I need another conveyor line. Hold on. I have an interesting idea here. Yeah. So if instead of having... Well, I think this may work. Instead of having the drills sort of in a cross in the middle, if I have them in the corners, that means this whole thing is sort of a loop. I could even, I mean... You know, it's not like this is super critical. I can just put one more drill there. One more drill isn't going to kill me. Do I want to put a drill up here? I kind of wanted a light in here somewhere, like a headlight. Do I think that'll have enough room, or will it leave little voxels right in here? In reality, being able to see ahead of me is nice, but when I'm drilling, most of what I'm going to be seeing is rock. And I'll probably have enough with my suit headlights and what little bit of pour on that window, plus the thrusters lighting things up, to be able to, you know, tell when I've hit rock through the ore patch. Or I can just look and see when I got stone in my inventory, which I may not care about because I can process stone. That is a big honkin' drill head assembly. There's some thrusters in there. There's some more thrusters back here. It doesn't look quite the same as it did, but it's not too weird. I may... Oh, it'll be sad to lose. It's been such a part of this. But I may get rid of the piston things because they're no longer needed. And because I don't have to worry about guns that are going to hit the station, I can just have this piston or this connector recessed in here, meaning everything is perfectly flush. I'll probably do that. But I think I'll get that done next time, or probably have it done before next time anyway. So yeah, we're making changes. We've definitely shifted things up. I do like that little refinery ring down there. And now that they're all built, next episode I'll probably work on the interior sort of production suite. I have some plans for in there. But all that will come in the future. For now, thank you all so much for watching. Feel free to check out the other stuff I've done, and until next week, bye-bye.